Hey, energy party people. That's right, it's that time again. Welcome to my new intro.
You're magic, magic. We're magic. Magic Mondays with Coley.
Hey, energy party people. Yeah, that's my new intro. And if you missed it, well, I'm going to play it again because I'm proud of it because it involves technology and a lot of help from Dave. Um, yeah. Anyway, so we're smudging the space. And it looks like Yvonne is here and Art and Erica are here, or Artica. Yay. Um, so Yvonne and Art and Erica and Shannon, hi. We'll get to your theme songs in a moment. Um, did you guys hear the theme song thing I just did? Because I did it right at the beginning like a dummy. Anyway, so let me know if you can. Okay. So, smudging the space. All right, cut the smudge. Yeah, so usually I'd play my awesome song from StreamYard, but I know that there are a few people watching right now, I'm just gonna play it again because you know what? I can. Here we go.
You're magic, magic. We're magic. Magic Mondays with Coley.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyway, and thank you once again to Artica Productions for creating my beautiful song that just makes me so happy. Anyway, all right, well, welcome, whether you're watching live or in the future. Welcome to Magic Mondays. I'm your hostess, Colleen McCann, in case you can't read the screen. All right. What do I want to mention? Oh, today's sponsor is one of our old favorites, Burden of Poof. It's a support group for frustrated magicians. Burden of Poof. Okay. And we have some theme songs. Well, thank you, Artica. Good job on getting the song on my intro. Wow. Okay, having trouble reading today. Thank you so much. Oh, what's that? Oh, and the graphics are really nice too. Thank you. I think I can always do better. So I'm just going to accept the compliment. Thank you. Yeah. So, Burden of Poof, just for any frustrated magicians, and mention Magic Mondays for a free magic wand shine up. Okay. Oh, Blanca's here too. Okay, so we've got some theme songs, and sometimes I think I should redo them, but then I don't know, part of why I'm doing this, the biggest part of why I've been doing Magic Mondays is to be a consistent presence. And if you want your theme song updated, I'd be happy to create another craptastic 3-second song for you. But let's get to the theme songs. Okay, so let's start with, wait for it. Oh, it's amazing how many of these I have. Okay. Yvonne is in the house. Check her out. Okay, and then we've got Artica. Art and Erica, Erica and Art. Thank you for joining us, doing your part. Yeah. It's funny how it messes me up every time. Okay, and so, okay, Shannon, just wait for it. And here you go. Shannon is here. Hey, Dr. Shannon. Okay, I don't seem to have trouble with that one. And then the lovely Blanca. Blanca, oh Blanca, thank you for showing up today. Yay! Okay, so I think we're caught up here. Yeah, so welcome. Thanks for being here. Yeah, so what do I want to mention? Couple things. Yeah, so this weekend, Yeah. So this weekend I did a phone session for somebody. I had a phone session scheduled, and the phone sessions are an extra big deal to me because it's when I do a mini session, I'm completely by myself. I wait for the right timing and then do it. But a phone session is like, well, that's a specific time, obviously. Yeah, and so have to really be prepared at a specific time. And for the one I had scheduled on Saturday, and it was with a long-term client who I'm very comfortable with. We've been working together, like I said, a long time, if you didn't catch that. And and I'd heard from his mom, who's also a client, she just made mention of like, oh yeah, he's going through something. Didn't know what that was. And so Dave and I, as I've bragged or mentioned before, that we start every day off together playing. That's right, a game called Carcassonne. I know it sounds super weird, but starting my day out with fun is, well, I try to make that happen every day. So, yeah, so we were playing Carcassonne, and as we were playing, I just was filled with more and more trying to remember the feeling because it was so intense. I just was sobbing, like out loud crying, like not just like you need to know what I mean. Anyway, so out loud crying, with Dave as my witness, and just talking about how just overwhelmed I am with my. I don't even want to mention the word. It starts with a B. Drink. Um, yeah, I'm coming to grips with any deadlines about my B are completely self-imposed, and if I need to put that on the back burner for a second, then that's what I need to do, literally for my mental health. Like it's, I've been worried about this is hurting me. Um, anyway, enough on that. No crying right this minute, please. But yeah, so I was just like, I'm like, I scheduled his. I asked him, "Can we put off your session for an hour?" He said, "Sure." And so that bought me some time. And I'm like, "How am I going to get my shit together in an out the next hour and a half or so?" And and I was just, I hate canceling on people, and it was just like, just. I'm trying to think of the emotion. It was just I can't think of a strong enough word. It was just so all encompassing, and I just felt like I was in this giant cloud of awful. And I have to feel a certain amount of good, pretty darn good, to do a session for somebody, especially on the phone. Um, yeah, and that's why I raise my rates because it takes a lot of my energy. Yeah, so anyway, so I'm like in desperation through tears, I asked Dave to muscle test me. Like I didn't feel like I could even check myself. I was just in such a bad place. And so Dave muscle tested me and basically got that my old mentor Kufu, who passed away probably like a decade ago, I got that he was with me now. It's like, oh, wow, is that the first time? So that made me cry even harder, like out of gratitude. But still feeling in the thick of everything. And I asked if all of the everything I was feeling, whatever you want to call it, if all of it was mine. And no, it wasn't. And one guess as to whose energy it was. And yeah, being an empath, it's different for all of us, but and I don't pick up everybody's stuff, thank God. I pick up plenty, and I was picking up the energy of my client. Yeah, and it was overwhelming, and I just asked, thinking this isn't going to help, but can I just give his energy back to him and we'll deal with it in an hour when we work together? And I got a yes. And so, basically, when I get a yes to that, I picture that I'm in an energy bubble and everyone has their energy bubble. And his had kind of like melded into mine or infiltrated, or that sounds accusatory. It's not. Yeah, but somehow there were, sometimes I think it's because I had so much going on for myself that I was an easy in, if you will. And so, yeah, so I got that I could give his energy back. So I just pictured his bubble of energy going back to him, and then my bubble of energy being without his energy. And I'm still shocked at how magical energy work can be. Woo! And within moments, I was flooded with peace. Yeah. And within moments, I went from despair to telling Dave, like, "Oh, yeah, I can work with him today." Uh, and I did, and I told him all about it after I heard him talking about what was going on with him, and then I told him, "Okay, now I understand why I was feeling what I was feeling, because his stuff was like, ugh." Yeah, which I can understand. Uh, anyway, so, that happened, and then afterwards, I was just, like, shot. We had guests that evening, I was supposed to cook, and told Dave, "We're gonna order some," well, I asked him, "Would it be okay if we ordered some Indian food tonight?" And that's what we did and had a blast. So somehow my energy was enough to sustain drinking wine and maybe a little something else with these new friends and, playing games and laughing really hard. And so I had energy for that, and then they left, and it was like, "Dum." Yeah, but I feel a lot better now, and I have another story about that, but let's, look at a pretty picture, and on the West Coast anyway, it's 11:11, and, yeah, make a wish if you'd like. Okay. Alright, and while we're here, just a reminder, if you choose to think this way, because it really is a choice, first of all, deciding, do you live in a chaotic, cold, who gives a fuck universe, or do you live in a universe that has your back 100% of the time? Uh, and just for reference, Albert Einstein, remember him? He suggested that that's the biggest decision you can make is that you live in a kind, benevolent, always has your back and is there for you universe. Anyway, the universe is in a conspiracy for our happiness. The universe always has our backs. Therefore, if it's happening to us, it's happening for us. So, especially when the shit hits the fan, it's good to remember, what is the universe bringing to our attention for our highest growth, healing, and happiness in this trigger, if you will? Yeah. Woo. And I think is this the one? No. Okay. I have one here. Okay. And this is something to keep in mind too with triggers. We all want to be seen, understood, and valued. And so does the energy behind our emotional triggers. Yeah, because witnessing can truly be miraculous. And if you're holding it down, not wanting to face it, really, sometimes if you just face it and untangle it, and some are harder than others to untangle, but that's what I specialize in, untangling triggers. But just, if you can just let yourself feel what you need to feel and see what comes up for you, there can be pure healing in that. Yeah, so that being said, um, oh, another thing I wanted to mention, just last night, um, like I was already in bed and Dave was coming to bed and he told me he was not feeling good. And I'm like, okay. And gratefully during these times, like usually if I'm having a breakdown, Dave feels fine or fine enough. And if he's having a little bit of something, it's good when I'm on solid ground. And I was on solid ground last night. And so it's kind of late, but almost 11. And he's like, not feeling good. And so I got out my pendulum and my menu of options, my master menu, and started asking questions. And he too, his energy belonged to one of his patients that tends to be a little much because she's really going through it. I think she's a sensitive person and doesn't know how to handle it. Join the club. Yeah, so uh, we got permission to just give her energy back to her and did a little bit of something else. I think maybe he had a dark entity with him or something. But pretty quickly, he said he thought he was feeling better. Um, yeah, and he was so in the thick of, like, just all of a sudden feeling like dog shit. He was a little hesitant to say, like, "Yeah, I think I feel better, because it's sometimes when I'm in the thick of it, it's hard to even admit, like, "Oh, maybe I could actually be feeling better," because it's such a bad place. Anyway, and then, after a little bit more time, he he felt better and better and was able to go to bed and go to sleep. And this morning he said he woke up feeling fine. So yay, magic of energy work. So just a reminder, if you've got an energetic knot you can't seem to untangle, let me know. Yeah, so, and you can always reach me at energyhealingwithcolleen.com, of course. Okay, so what else did I want to mention? Um, let's see. Um, oh yeah. So, and another thing that comes up occasionally for me, as I've mentioned many times in the past, is like when I'm feeling low, it'll be like I'm just not doing life right. Just not doing life right. Yeah, and just across the board, not doing it right. Like everyone else has it together and they do all the things, but I'm not doing it right. And so what's helped me, what got me out of that hole this time was to recognize, okay, this is bullshit. Um, yeah, there are things I can be doing better. And spoiler, there are things we can all be doing better throughout our entire fucking lives. So just so you know. Yeah, and so I decided to reframe it and turn it around and start focusing on like, okay, well, what are some things I am doing right in my life? Um, I have a lovely marriage. Oh my God. I think I have the best marriage in the world. And such a lovely partnership. And yeah, there's the B, um, which I'm feeling like this about it right now. Like, um, yeah, there's just a lot to it, and there's a lot of things that I'm not sure I'm willing to do to make it happen. So, anywho, well, enough on that right now. But yeah, I'm doing life right in a lot of ways. Like I'm a good cook, I'm a good friend, whatever. The list goes on. I have many, many blessings in my life, but man, can just one or two little things just work their way in there and then everything looks like fucking shit. So anyway, so good times. And just in case you're watching and you're new, if you're watching live, um, I want you to know that I cannot see that you're watching unless you put in a comment. So, and if you ever want one of your own theme songs, you need to watch live and you need to let me know that you are watching and what your name is. And then I promise you, I will make one for you. Ooh, exciting. Okay, well, I think that's all of my news. I think it's time for Mr. Cooperus to come on. So, one moment, please. Queuing up theme song. Ooh, we're catching up with Koop. We're catching up with Koop. Yeah. Hey, Koop.
Hey, Colleen. Hey, everybody. I'm willing to bet if you ask all your listeners that have theme songs that's it makes me smile. It's it's been over a year now, and
We're catching up with.
Yeah, catching up with.
My phone's like, oh, you like that? You want to hear it again? Why is my phone talking?
I'm just saying that I love hearing it. It makes me smile. So I'm sure everyone else. I'm just guessing my reaction isn't uncommon. You're making a lot of people happy with your theme songs.
Well, Shannon said, I love my song. So,
right.
And as I have mentioned, I would love it if I tuned into somebody's, whatever this is, live thing. And every time I showed up, I was greeted with my theme song. I don't know. I love silliness like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Kind of when we were kids, it's really changed. Like every song had like every TV show, every sitcom had like a 30-second theme song with lyrics and like montages, that kind of thing. And it really kind of started changing. I don't know, sometime in the 90s, but a lot of shows it's like they have cold opens now, and like the theme songs don't have any words, and they're really short, like 10 seconds, 15 seconds. It's more time to sell ads, basically. So I just kind of missed that. Like WKRP in Cincinnati, that was a great theme song,
Which one?
WKRP in Cincinnati.
Oh my God, I still love that.
And then there's Maud. Maud was a great theme song.
I can sing that whole thing too.
So
Lady Godiva was a freedom wrider.
I just think people these days are missing out on good theme songs. Not like they don't make them like they used to. So.
I agree. And then some go on forever, especially on like hoity-toity channels that think they're all that, like Apple Plus
Right.
or HBO. Just like 2 minutes.
Like some kind of work of art. Yeah, whatever.
Right. They usually don't have words, so that makes them extra uninteresting to me.
Right. So
like, I only want to watch this graphic once and then I'm done because it's old. Anyway, I've spoken.
But yes, we were talking about before the show. I very much am sharing your thoughts lately on for a long time I was really, really down, and so I had a lot of tips and tricks and hints and things that I did to try to motivate myself and improve my self-esteem. And for a long time, I was feeling really great. And I guess I have been kind of struggling lately, not anywhere near like I was, but again, I wasn't up like I was either. And I had gotten out of all the things that I had been doing, So yeah, just it needs a little bit of a intentional intention behind my life, and not just hanging out, living every day. We intentionally be grateful for what I have, and tell myself some slack. Yeah, I have the same thing. Everyone is better than me. Everyone is managing their life better than I am, and even the punk kid at the UPS store, whatever. Everyone. Yeah,
I'm not that guy.
I gotta give myself some credit. I gotta give myself some credit for having gotten this far, and for I'm a pretty good guy. I'm a good neighbor. We're gonna
awesome.
So I have a lot going for me. I gotta it's just live with intention and not just
And I think anybody who's actually doing all the things is, if you're really doing all the things that you're supposed to, you're probably running yourself into the ground, or you've got a boatload of money and a whole lot of help.
Yeah, all the things. I don't think anybody can do all the things, because I don't
That's
know,
where
but
help comes in.
most of the people that do at least appear to be doing all the things, I think a lot of times they're like, because they can't. I spend too much time alone doing what I want, but I like hanging out with myself, and I don't have any,
I like hanging out with
trouble
myself.
hanging out.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't do. My dad's one. He cannot sit quietly alone in a room and be happy, and find a book to read, or just kick back and think about. He's got to always be to distract himself from himself. I think so. A lot of people that have it so on the ball, I think down deep, is because they really don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and it's a good way. It's a good way to not look at your own stuff too. If you're just have so much going on that you just, where's the time for that? And I used to put work first, because I knew, like, okay, I've got this much energy, so I'm going to work with all my clients, and then I'll take care of myself after. And then after, it's like, fuck that. I'm going to lie on the couch, probably smoke a little, and do nothing and just veg out. Which, okay, that's all right too. But in
moderation.
It's not conscious, like, okay, this is taking care of me now. This is what I do to take care of me. This is just collapse. And so I had to learn the hard way over many, many, many years to, like, do my self-care first, and then I work with people as much as I possibly can.
Especially when you are your own tool, and you have to work has to take care of his tools. So.
I am my own instrument. And I love playing with myself. Anyway.
So, just note to everybody, I guess, just reframe things, like you were talking about a couple weeks ago. Reframe, and just intentionally recognize, what you have going for yourself and how much worse it could be, and be grateful for what you have. It really does help a lot. So,
and disconnecting from the news. I've been disconnected from the news. Well, except like Saturday Night Live, that helps. I've always preferred my news from Weekend Update.
I would get my news from like the Daily Show when Jon Stewart was on. Because it's like some of the stuff I can't hear unless he would give me a way to hear it, but also laugh at it at the same time. So
well, that's how Saturday Night Live is too. It's like, it's helpful, and sometimes Like, I've been so disconnected, I'll ask Dave, like, "Oh, wow, that's happening? Okay, that's a thing." And I get it. Some people are like, "Well, I need to stay in touch with what's happening and the world's ending." And well, as I told my client the other day, it's like, spoiler, throughout time, people think the world's ending. And I know
Pretty much.
things look dire, but things have always kind of looked dire.
Well,
Just
and I
saying.
mean, looking at the world has ended several times already. I mean, and it keeps on spinning, and I mean, yeah. So I just like archaeologically speaking, there's been time in human history where like sunspots, solar flares, whatever. People moved back. People lived outside, and then people lived in caves. They didn't always live. They moved back into caves for a reason. I mean, you think about all the cave art that was all being done during a time when people really couldn't live outside. Like, I mean,
Wow.
anyway. So yeah, there's been times when they've like through genetics, about they can kind of estimate the population, the gene pool at different times. And there's been a few times when there's like 1,000 human beings left. I mean, during different times in our history. So yeah, so it can get pretty bad, and we're still, and it's all. Don't worry about that too much, I guess, is what I'm saying. It's all like I especially appreciate like the Hindu kind of frame on things is like this is all a play. This is all like a big game that we're all playing, and it really there's no way to win or lose. I mean, but just kind of relax and enjoy what's going on and not worry too much about the outcome.
Well,
So
I
anyway.
truly believe the world is a mirror. So, like, if you're focused, if your big thing that's like really in your face is some atrocity in the world, and don't get me wrong, I am not a fan of atrocities. I want fairness is what I want for everybody, and I want everyone to have love and be warm enough and shelter and food and all this stuff. But really, like, I truly believe that whatever is in your particular face at any particular time that's really like, "Ugh," that's reflecting something in you that's unhealed. Just
Sure.
saying. And that might sound weird, but I think there's a lot of power in that, unless you have no way of dealing with it. Then you're just fucked.
Right.
But that's what I look at when something's really in my face, like, when Trump was elected. And I didn't know what to do with myself. And then it's like, oh yeah, what do I do with all of this shit? Like, I check and see energetically what's showing up. And quite frankly, the few things that showed up that were bubbling up to the surface for me that day, and it took 15 minutes, and then I'm like, oh, I feel better. Wow. It was like some old trapped emotions, or maybe a vow I took. And it was like Trump was just the trigger. I think he's disgusting and awful, but we all know how I feel about him. But I appreciate him at the same time for the role he's played, because we all have a role here. And I believe for a lot of us, it brought up a lot of triggered energy. And if you know how to work with that, then life gets better. And thank you. And if you don't see it that way, oof, ouch. I know people who are still triggered, who've never healed that trigger around Trump, and I still don't like him, but I don't. It's not like, oh my God, the world's going to end because he's alive.
Yeah.
um,
And actually, that's kind of weird because that's one of the. I do watch a lot of news, and I choose what kind of news I can. I watch a lot of news through YouTube, so I can pick and choose my topics that I like to
hmm.
follow. I like Ukraine. I follow Ukraine. It's so inspiring to me, and um, I want to go there when the war's over. It's all these places I want to visit and see, and I want to meet people. And
Oh,
anyway,
that's cool.
but one of the things that energizes me lately is watching news about Trump. I used to try to ignore him, but I mean, I almost feel sorry for the guy.
Oh, I go through times of
He's going to
feeling
go to
sorry for
jail.
him.
I mean,
Yeah.
and I have no fear of him ever being president again.
Okay.
These spells broken. You look at the polls, and I mean, yeah, it's not something I'm afraid of anymore. I'm experiencing an inordinate amount of Schadenfreude. Schadenfreude. That's
What's that?
uh, taking happiness in other people's misfortune. That's a German word.
Well, I
Person
think I
doesn't have
said
to
it.
hear from it.
I think I said it when he was arraigned or whatever the legal terms are that I've never understood. All of that going down for the first time with a, former president.
Yeah.
I was like, the fairness in me is like, yeah, he needs to take account, he needs to be accountable, a million times more than the poor kid who got, caught with a little bit of weed and is spending his life in prison. Like, yeah, but what was kind of surprising to me is it didn't make me happy. It just felt fair because the thought of anybody going to prison, unless you're, like I said before, like, unless you're a mass murderer and we have to like sequester you somehow. Like there's no hope for you in this lifetime. But for most other people, I think prison is just the worst thing ever. The worst thing ever. That and a mental institution.
I think once you go into prison, you're never ever going to come out okay. I don't see how you could possibly come out of that experience, unchanged. And some people come out better, but a lot of people come out worse. So,
well, I think it takes a really strong person to like find the value in it and then take advantage of that time to maybe study something or shift your perspective or figure out like, how can I never come back here again? Yeah, and I think a lot of people just get really damaged and just become part of the system.
Let's see, but I guess that's where I would almost feel sorry for him, but he deserves it. And I think that's like
Yeah, he deserves something. Somebody has to make him stop.
There's an AI generated image out there of him in an orange jumpsuit cleaning a prison bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
At least the orange will match his hair.
Exactly. So I don't know, and it kind of goes along with the whole Fox Dominion thing. I don't know. I'm excited to possibly be seeing some accountability.
Yeah, but let's be real. If he goes to prison,
so it'll probably be like a Club Med.
He's not going to go to the hardcore prison.
I don't care.
He's not going to be killed. He's not going to be hurt. He's going to be fucking taken care of. Sure. Because money talks. To quote Spinal Tap, I believe it's Bobby Fleckman. Money talks and bullshit walks.
I've heard that before. Bobby Fleckman.
Bobby Fleckman.
Was that Fran Drescher?
Yep. Right?
Yeah.
Remember Sadie had a cat named Bobby after it was Bobby Fleckman, and then Bobby was one of the coolest cats ever, maybe the coolest cat ever. And at one point, Sadie took her to training so she could be like a animal support, like visitor pet in hospitals and stuff. Yeah, she did that for a while. And so she became so this is when I was in chiropractic school, becoming a doctor. And then Dr. Bobby Fleckman came into being. And I remember telling Sadie, is it weird that I have a little bit more respect for her?
You have a little bit of what?
Title. What's that?
You have a what?
I had a little bit more respect for her.
Oh,
because she had that title now. Bobby Fleckman, Dr. Bobby Fleckman, the cat. Yeah. Yeah, she was a great cat. Anyway, well, should we do some healing stuff?
We should.
Whew. Okay. So let's do a quick grounding. Pick a chakra, any chakra. I'm going to go from my heart. So, which I think is, I always have to go up the rainbow like Roy G. Biv. So that's G, right? Green. Okay, so green light. So expand that light of your chakra out, 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 the far reaches of the universe, including down into beautiful Gaia, Mother Earth, and bring up some of her grounding, beautiful energy, and also open up our crown chakras and allow in the cosmic energy to meet up with Gaia energy, and we create an interface between heaven and earth through us. So that being said, yeah, okay. All right, so let's put out a shout out to any dead people that need to just escort to the light. No questions asked. Yeah, so first of all, my name is Colleen. Yep, okay. So are there any dead people that need to be released? Yep, okay. Is Jesus our best escort? Jesus, are you ready? Okay, so give us a moment. Sometimes they just need a conscious exit strategy. All right, so do we successfully release the dead people to the light? Yep. Okay, so that being said, is it's safe and appropriate to do some energy work for the group today? Yes. Okay. This first thing is on my master menu. Yes. This is in column A. Yes. In an odd numbered row? No. In row 2? Yes. Okay, so that takes us to stuck or trapped emotional energy. Okay. All right, so this trapped emotion for the group is in column A. Yes. Column B, column C. No. Column A in an odd numbered row. Yeah. Okay. In row 1. Yeah. In row 3, 5. Okay. So anger's back. Okay. Yeah. I have a lot to say about anger, but I probably said it all before. Yeah, but I love, love, love when anger shows up for myself or anybody in a session. Um, okay, so do we need details on this anger? No. Okay, so it's safe and appropriate to release this anger for the group. Yeah, but why am I getting such a tiny little answers? What kind of bothers me? So it's safe and appropriate to release this anger. Yeah. Is anybody trying to get my attention? Nope. Okay. Do I need to be concerned with the size of my yes or no? No. Okay. Whatever. Okay. I'm just always on the lookout for the clues. Okay. So it's safe and appropriate to release this resonance of anger for the group. Yeah. Okay, safe and appropriate from the light. Are we ready? We are. So if you're playing, there's nothing you need to do. Just allow. And if it's for you, you'll get it. Okay, so we're sending all this vibration, this resonance, this frequency of anger. We're sending that all to the light. Smell you later. And then we're going to fill up the spaces once occupied by this anger. We're going to fill us up with energy of forgiveness, lots of energy of love and light, energy of understanding and acceptance, freedom, safety, security, stability, and let's just top it off with some more love. Okay, so, woo. All right. So have we successfully cleared this energy of anger for the group? Yes. Is there something else we can do for the group? Yes. Is this another trapped emotion? Yes. Okay. So while we're here, okay, this trapped emotions in column A. No. In column B. Yeah. In an odd numbered row. Yes. In row 1. Yes. In row 3. Okay. Frustration. Oh, I know all about frustration. Yeah, I get real frustrated when I'm not doing life right. Yeah, or not understanding something. It's like, so in my B group, um, our fearless leader was talking about setting up an author page on Facebook. And I'm like, oh, good, I can do that. Like, that's no big deal. All the rest of the things she was saying triggered me horribly. But anyway, it's not on her. It's like just, yeah, my drink, my B is driving me crazy. Yeah. But so I'm like, okay, I can at least start with the one thing that I can stomach and setting up a page on Facebook. That just sounds like creative fun. And I sat down to do that yesterday. And I thought it would be so obvious, and it's not, at least not to me. And I did something I rarely do. I watched YouTube videos, like go to YouTube University, and there's all these videos on how to set up specifically an author page on Facebook. And every single one of them, they're like, okay, well, you just go to this button, blip, blip, blip. And I'd watch it over and over and could not locate any of the things they were seeing on their screen. They were
Yeah.
not on the screen.
That's because they get out of date. The UI changes, they move buttons or add or subtract features, and then the video doesn't make any sense anymore. And it's still out there for 20, it'll be there for 20 years. People will be looking up and getting wrong instructions for a long time. That's kind of a problem, right?
Yeah, and I was trying to find one that was the most recent, because the first one I tried to think was from 4 years ago. So that's probably ancient history. Yeah. Oh. If it makes you feel any better, I always feel like I'm not doing life right. That's Erica.
Yeah, you join the club, right?
Yeah, Erica, you are not alone, and I'm sad that you feel that way. But
I mean, it's good to hear because I mean, I think maybe everybody thinks that. Everybody is out there thinking, like, there's that one Kids in the Hall sketch about the guy, David Foley, he's giving a presentation. And he's like, any second now, they're going to realize I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Right.
The jig's going to be up. They're going to figure me out. And they know I'm an imposter and I'm just taking my way through everything. But they never do. So,
Right.
yeah.
And Erica, like I said, it doesn't make me feel better ultimately to know that you don't feel like you're doing life right. But what does help is that you say that, because when I see you, when I think about you, I think about the master you are at what you do. Both you and Art, and like over the top, like good at what you do. And even you feel like you're not doing it right. So that helps. I don't like that you feel that way, because I want the best for everybody. But thank you for sharing that, because yeah, you're a rock star. Yeah. Anyway, you both are. Yeah. So blah blah blah. Where are we? Oh yeah, frustration. Yeah, and so I just to finish up my boring story about the author page on Facebook, I whined a little bit to my author group, my writers group, on Messenger, and our fearless leader said, "That sounds like a great thing to bring up to," who I call Anna too, because I have two tech Annas in my life, amazing tech badass women, and she's like, yeah, she'll just probably make a little video on how to do it, because she's like, the things I think are so like, she's just like boop boop boop. Yeah. And Shannon says, another person who's great at what she does, me too. I'm glad I have less days that I think I'm not doing life right. Yeah, I have less of those days too, but this year has been why can't okay, thank you for the message. Why won't you go away? Sheesh. Uh, so this year has been exceptionally humbling. I mean, I've gotten some stuff. I've moved forward in some big ways for me that probably sound like nothing to anybody else, because I don't do life right. But man, it's been hard. You know what year was strikingly easy? I mean, it was very stressful in a lot of ways, but like one of my best years of my life, feeling wise, just in my body, was 2020, when the pandemic started. I mean, it was, yeah, I somehow I stepped into my power on a deeper level, and I get to work from home. So, that took some weirdness out of it for me. But even though Dave was fighting to keep the office alive
I remember that.
every day for a long time, he and Jenna, badasses. Yeah, I felt more in my power, and that's when my credo came together of like, okay, what do I believe here? Because the shit's really hitting the fan, like on a worldwide level. And yeah, and I when I throw that credo up, like I mean business with that, like that is literally what gets me through, because I feel a lot of the time, and I have to remind myself, okay, if it's really hitting me, there's something for me to look at here. And that gets me out of many a pickle. Yeah. That being said, let's get back to frustration. Okay, so there's frustration energy showing up for the group. Yes. Okay. Do we need details on this? Nope. Okay. It's safe and appropriate to clear this for whoever needs it. Yeah. And from the light, are we ready? We are. Okay. If you're playing, just relax. So we're sending all of this energy, this vibration, this frequency of frustration for the group watching now and in the future. We're sending that all to the light. And we're going to fill ourselves up now with energy of ease and clarity, relief, energy of peace, calm, and serenity. Lots of light, lots of freedom. And let's add some levity and humor in there. Thank God for the comedians. Thank God for the comedians. Yeah, so that being said, all right, so have we successfully cleared this energy of frustration for the group? Yes. Okay, is there another trapped emotion to do for the group? No. Is there something else we can do for the group to help our week be better? Starting off Mondays right, that was a yes. Okay, this is on my master menu, it is. This is in column A, yes. In an odd numbered row, yes. In row 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 7, 9. Okay, 7 it is. Vows. So let's see what vows are showing up. Okay. So this is a personal vow. Yep. Okay. This is in column A. No. In column B. No. Column C. Yes. Okay. This is in an odd numbered row. No. This is in an even numbered row. Yeah. Wow. Sounds serious. Okay. This is in row 2. 4. 4. 6. Wow. Okay. Our winner is self-punishment. Okay. That's always a fun one. I never punish myself. Just kidding. Man, nobody's harder on me ever than I am, which is kind of the good news. I can take it from me, but man, I'm fucking brutal, like brutal. Um, yeah, so I really work on the self-love thing, and I believe I have a graphic for this. Wait for it, wait for it. Always good to remember. I am enough. We are enough. Like, we just are. Whether you get it all done or you get nothing done, whether you have the worst habits in the world or whatever, you're still enough. So, and you're playing your part.
Exactly.
Yeah. Whew. Okay. So that being said, self-punishment. So this vow of self-punishment for the group is ready and willing and safe and appropriate to and from the light to go ahead and clear it. Yep. Are we ready? We are. Give me a moment. And your job is to receive. That is it. Okay. So have we successfully cleared this vow of self-punishment for the group watching now and in the future? Yep. Cool. And that, as I was doing that, my brain went to the day. It's what is it? It's in my B. I don't know why I don't want to say the word right now, but drink anyway. But there was a day where I was having one of my out loud talks to the universe. Man, I highly recommend it. And as I always say, things come out of my mouth that I don't expect, and it's really helpful. It's kind of my freelicious therapy. Um, yeah, like all kinds of things get solved and clarified, or at least I get relief by doing so. But one day, I remember what went through my head, what I said out loud to the universe unexpectedly is like, what if I could love myself exactly as I am right this minute? Like before I lose weight, before I do all the things, before I get younger looking, somehow as I get older. Yeah. And that's when I came up with what I just call the shame dump. Other people have probably come up with that too, but I came up with it for myself that day. And so I made, in case you want to do it, and I was just thinking this morning, maybe I'll put it in my next email, a recording of that chapter, because yeah, it was life changing. And just in case you want to do it, what I did was I just, in my journal, I made a little cloud shape and I told myself, I made it a game because it always has to be a game for me to make it fun. It's like, okay, what if I like write everything I feel shameful about and everything, I just shove as many shameful things in writing, which was shockingly hard. Now it doesn't sound hard because I did it. But if it does sound hard, then you need to do it. I'm just saying. But fill up that cloud. Well, I agreed with myself that everything I wrote in there that I was shameful about, that I had the balls to write in there, that they would all be annihilated. I believe that's the word I use. Um, yeah. And then a few hours later, so that was like, oh, I did that. And then a few hours later, who cares? This is a silly detail, but I was upstairs because our kitchen's upstairs. I was upstairs at the kitchen in the refrigerator and like, oh, maybe I should read it again. It was a few hours later, and I'm like, ooh, I don't know. And I went back, and here's where the magic, where I really started feeling the magic. I like gulp. I reread my list, and it was I was flooded. Don't want to cry. Flooded with compassion for myself, and as I write in my B drink, um, it felt like, oh, Muffin, like I had so much compassion for myself. It was like it was like I was a little girl who like stole a cookie, something heinous like
Yeah.
that. It's like, oh, she's feeling all shame about that. That's so sad. That's so cute. Um, yeah, and then I've mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again because it's my show, god damn it. And when Dave came home, I'm like, "Do you want to read my journal for today?" Because we had discussed maybe sharing journal entries if it seemed appropriate. And he's like, "How about you read it out loud to me?" And it's like, but then we even muscle tested. Would it be okay for me to do that? Yeah. And then I had a lot of crying involved, but I read every bit of it to him. And then he said, magically, he just said, "Oh, and I love you anyway." Like, kind
Oh,
of okay.
he's something a really good guy.
Yeah, but I was saying things like were so shameful, like, "I'm lazy." Like, yeah. I don't think everything I deem myself to be lazy in myself, I don't think it's necessarily accurate, but I think a lot of people would see me as fucking lazy. Um, Not when I'm working, but whatever. Um, yeah, and his reaction was just, yeah, something magical happened in that, and he witnessed this dark shit for me, and it was life-changing, and ever since then, life has been different. I know I come on my show and I talk about all the things that are going on, but ultimately, life has only gotten better and better. And I learned more and more ways to deal with my magic and my sensitivities. And yeah, here's to you, Coop. Were you going to say something?
Nope. I'm just listening.
Damn it. Okay. Uh, anyway, so yeah, doing the shame cloud thing was magical. And like one of the tangible things that came out of it, it was another layer of feeling more comfortable in just being me. Um, so just a little bit more relaxed in being me. But one of the tangible things was some friends came over, and Dave was in the other room with the wife, I think adjusting her. And so the husband was in the kitchen with me, and and he was a professional chef. He is a professional chef in like a high-end restaurant in San Diego. And I'm always weird about like cooking in front of people and making like dinner for people and like I remember my brother came over for dinner once and I was like, "Okay, well I just made for this for the first time and blah blah blah." And he's like, "Oh, is this the part where you apologize for your cooking, for your food, for your dinner?" It's like, "Oh, that little bastard." He's really great at pointing things out to me. Thanks. Like when I was in college, and he was just a little punk, and I changed my major to be a sociology major with an emphasis on social welfare. And he's like, "What do you feel so guilty about?" Wow. Yeah. So anywho, but yeah, so in front of this chef who I didn't know very well, and a dude on top of it. And I'm like, "Oh, let's make some Brazilian bread." He's like, "Oh, I've never made that." And I'm like, "Oh, cool." And I just whipped it up in front of him. And he was like, "Wow, that's amazing." And I'm like, "Thanks." And it's just like, whatever. And it's like, yeah. So every so often it's a good idea to maybe do a little shame dump, or it could be a dump of your choice. Oh, that reminds me to this weekend. I mean, TMI, but talk about, well, okay, we don't need to go there. but I was a little concerned for myself. Well, okay, we don't need to go there. Let's just say dumping was involved. Yeah, we don't need to talk about that shit. Um, yeah. Anyway, blah 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 blah. So, did we determine that we're like done with the energy work portion?
I don't think you asked that question, but I think
Sorry, I went off on a tangent.
we were finished with the anger and the frustration part, and
And we just did a vow of self-punishment. So let's just make
right.
sure. So have we successfully released whoever needed it from this vow of self-punishment? Yes. Okay. Is there anything else magic-wise to do today for the group? No. So we are complete. Wow. And 55 minutes later, how did that happen?
Time flies when
Yeah.
you're having fun.
What's that?
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, like wow. Okay. Well, I think that's more than I was planning to say today. Shocker. Um,
Good
yeah,
show.
I never know what I'm
Good
gonna say. So any final brilliant thoughts, Coop?
Just just following what we were saying. Be kind to yourself. The compassion for yourself part. I try to be very compassionate, but I don't usually think about giving myself any. I am not very forgiving for myself, and that.
Yeah, I think it really all starts with within. Like it's all an inside job. Yeah, I remember seeing a chiropractor on a Abraham cruise, Abraham Hicks. Oh my God, it's so great. And there's a chiropractor. Hey, Shannon, remember Lenny Coco? Anyway, and Coco is my name that I call myself. So just, it's also my stripper name, I guess. Yeah. But like if I come up with a recipe, it's like Dr. Coco's, blah, blah, blah. Like I never use the doctor term unless it's something fun. Yeah, but he had a little button on his bag way back in the day, like 2005, 7, and it said it's all an inside job or something like that. And I'm like, it really is all an inside job. I think I don't know if I'm using the words right, but each of us is a microcosm of what's happening in the world. And the more we heal our own shit, the more the world heals, ultimately in the big pictures. How I look at it. Yeah, there's empowerment there because each of us are really only we can really only shift us, not that we can't have influence over each other, of course,
Right.
but yeah. And Artica says, that's so cool you went on an Abraham Hicks cruise. OMG. Dave broke up with me for like 36 hours when he told his wife about us. Yeah, and the day that he broke up with me, I talked to a no longer a friend. But anyway, I talked to her on the phone and she mentioned like, oh, I want to go on an Abraham Hicks cruise. And I'm like, oh, what's that? And so I'm just like Googling and I'm like, oh, let's do it. And she's like, you'd go with me? And so we planned it. And I'm like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Because Dave just broke up with me. And then like that night, Dave and I got back together. But I still went on the cruise and it was amazing.
I've
It was
never,
amazing.
I never heard of it. I have to go Google it.
Oh yeah, Esther Hicks. Yeah, she channels group spirit. I don't know how to say it. Called themselves Abraham.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's really helpful. And being on the cruise was amazing. I got to meet them. I got to see Jerry before he died. And yeah, it was a lovely place to be for 2 weeks on a cruise on a beautiful ship. Yeah, I can't even think of the name of Holland America. So really like ritzy compared to like cruises I'd been on before. And I'll end with this. So my friend brought a little herbal refreshment on the trip, so that was really nice. And because it's kind of a little risky because all the drug sniffing
Yeah.
dogs and stuff. But it was just perfect. We had a veranda suite, so we had our own outdoor space, and the Abraham seminars would only be when we were out in the middle of the ocean and we were touring around Hawaii. Yeah, and I was in the middle of my ex and we were trying to sell our house. I don't think I was quite divorced yet. Dave wasn't divorced yet. Dave was in the middle of like negotiating the sale of his practice, and everything was kind of sketchy. And my real estate agent said, like, oh, it looks like they're going to back out of the deal of the house. And so I remember sitting on, well, this is a tool if you want to use it. I remember sitting, probably had a little herbal refreshment. Of course I did. And then I just only didn't do it for the Abraham seminars parts. But yeah, sitting out on the veranda by myself, closed my eyes, and I'm like, what can I do? What can I do? And I decided for my higher self to have a conversation with the female buyer, the potential buyer of our home. I talked to her and told her why I think this would be beneficial for both of us. I also talked to Dave's soon-to-be ex-wife, at the time soon-to-be. Yeah, and blah, blah, blah. It made me feel better. It was something I could do. And as soon as we got back on land, I got back to San Diego, I got a message from my real estate agent that they decided to buy the house, and they did. Anyway, I put that in the couldn't hurt file to talk to somebody's higher self to higher self. Yeah. Anyway, but, oh, okay. This is what I was going to end with. So on that ship, you could go to the library where all the older people, it was very peaceful and calm, and a lot of older people, a lot of money, it seemed like. This very nice cruise line. And so we were in the library going through the DVDs you could borrow from the ship. And we landed on The Best of Will Ferrell. Perfect choice. Cowbell and everything. I mean, it's so good. But my friend is like, oh, maybe we should do this one. And it was the Olsen twins, like an Olsen twins movie or something. And of course we'd smoked a little. So we were having a good old time. And I just started laughing so hard. And my friend, it's like, oh, just a second. She wandered off, came back, and she's like, laughing so hard. She's like, follow me. She's like, I've been thinking of investing in some art. And I'm like, okay, that's a lie. And I followed her to the giant, beautifully framed picture of the Olsen twins, who are the godmothers of the ship. And I lost it. And I was laughing so hard, and just pee was just streaming down. Luckily I was wearing jeans. And she walked away, doubled over laughing. And I was like, I could not stop. It was just, I was laughing so hard and couldn't stop peeing, which of course made it funnier. And I think I did something classy. We got back to our room and I rinsed out my pants because I'm a lady. Yeah, but it always makes me happy anytime I hear about the Olsen twins being the godmothers of this beautiful ship and peeing myself. Okay, well, on that happy note, it's been an hour and 2 minutes, and I think I'm going to try to exit with my intro, my new intro.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, so thank you for watching, whether you're watching now or in the future. I love you. I appreciate you. And if there's anything I can do for you, please get a hold of me through my website, or if you have my number, or respond to the email. Yeah, I hope you're getting the emails, and yeah, and I've gotten some really nice feedback from them, and yeah. Anyway, anything else to say, Koop?
Nope.
Okay, so I'm going to try to time this. Let's see if I do it right, because ending the broadcast takes a second. How long does it take, Koop?
4 seconds.
4 seconds? Okay.
Yeah.
So I love you. Hope to see you next week, or talk to you, or whatever. And
Likewise.
thank you. And here we go.
You are magic, magic. We are magic.